Welcome to Alzheimer's Los Angeles. This video is being provided to help you learn about Alzheimer's and other dementias and how you can support and care for someone who may be living with the disease. Alzheimer's Los Angeles has many programs and services, including support groups, our helpline, and expert care counselors who are there to guide and provide you with resources and information and to be a helping hand along the way. Alzheimer's Los Angeles provides information and support. Please call our toll-free helpline at 844-HELP-ALZ, 844-435-7259, or by going online to our website at alzheimersla.org. The website offers a live chat to connect with experts who can provide resources and support. If you are noticing changes in someone you care about or even yourself, don't hesitate to call our helpline Monday through Friday with any questions. Making your home safe. Today we're going to cover some of the safety issues that come when you're caring for or living with someone with Alzheimer's or another dementia. We're going to cover how you can modify your home to make it safer. We'll also talk about some of the products and services that are available to make your home safer. First, we'll start with a short video. If you've participated in our memory loss and Alzheimer's sessions, you may have seen this video, but it's a brief reminder of how Alzheimer's affects the brain.
What is Alzheimer's disease? Alzheimer's is a progressive brain disease that slowly destroys memory and thinking skills, and eventually the ability to even carry out everyday tasks. An estimated 6.7 million Americans aged 65 and older are living with Alzheimer's dementia today. Although treatment can help manage symptoms, and for some people, potentially slow it down, there is no cure. But every day, researchers are working hard to develop treatments that will do more than what's available today. Alzheimer's disease develops gradually, and its onset may not be obvious at first. But the damage to the brain begins years before symptoms occur. Let's explore what happens in the brain of a person with Alzheimer's. Two abnormal protein fragments, called beta amyloid and tau, begin accumulating in the brain, which damage and eventually kill brain cells. These proteins are commonly referred to as plaques and tangles. They start here in the hippocampus, the part of the brain where memories are first formed. As the disease progresses, the plaques and tangles slowly destroy the hippocampus, and it becomes harder for a person with Alzheimer's to form new memories. Simple recollections from a few hours or days ago are just not there. Over time, more plaques and tangles spread into different regions of the brain, killing cells and compromising cognitive and physical abilities. The damage caused by the spreading of the disease results in different symptoms. We use these symptoms to define the different stages of the disease. Eventually, the damage spreads here to this region of the brain, the temporal lobe, where language is processed. When that happens, it gets harder to find the right words or follow a conversation. Next, as the disease progresses, it affects the front of the brain where logical thinking takes place, making it difficult to plan, problem solve, and make decisions. Slowly, it moves to the part of the brain where emotions are formed. When this happens, the person with Alzheimer's gradually loses control over their moods and feelings, and their personality can change. In the later stages, the disease moves on to the areas of the brain that make sense of the world around us, including what we see, hear, and smell. In this stage, Alzheimer's can affect a person's senses and can even cause hallucinations. Eventually, the plaques and tangles cause significant damage throughout the brain as they spread and erase a person's oldest and most precious memories. Finally, the disease impacts a person's balance and coordination. And in the very last stage, it destroys the part of the brain that regulates the lungs and breathing. And then, eventually, it also affects the heart's ability to function. The progression from mild forgetting to death is slow and takes place over time, an average of about 8 to 10 years. Although there's currently no cure for Alzheimer's, there is reason to hope. There are many promising developments on the horizon as breakthrough drugs and treatments are tested and become available. Meanwhile, information, programs, services, and resources are available for families, caregivers, and people living with Alzheimer's. Contact Alzheimer's Los Angeles at 844-435-7259 or our website at www.alzheimersla.org for more information. Until there's a cure, we'll provide the care.
So what is Alzheimer's disease? Let's do a quick review. You see here we have two brains. What differences do you notice between these two brains? You can see that the color, the shape, and size of the brain on the left is very different from the brain on the right. The brain on the left is a brain that doesn't have Alzheimer's and is a healthy brain. The one on the right is advanced Alzheimer's. Alzheimer's is a disease that affects the way the brain works. You can see that the brain of someone with advanced Alzheimer's is smaller in size. The ventricles, which are fluid-filled spaces within the brain, grow larger. Also, the cortex shrivels up, damaging areas involved in thinking, planning, and remembering. There is also shrinkage in the hippocampus, an area of the brain that plays a critical role in memory function. This is the reason people begin to behave differently or have trouble with their memory. They really don't have control over their behavior, especially as time passes and the disease gets worse. Now that we are all on the same page in knowing that Alzheimer's and other dementias are diseases that damage the brain, we'll move on to how we can make our homes safe for everyone. There is more than one way to make your home safer, and in this session, we will cover some of the simple ways you can make adjustments and create a safer environment. First, we'll discuss something that's fairly simple: changing the environment. What this means is you physically change the spaces in your home. By doing this, you may affect the behavior of a person with Alzheimer's if making changes happens to address the cause of the behavior. Not every negative behavior or symptom is caused by a person's environment, but for those behaviors that are, you may be able to lessen it or help it occur less often. Here's one that sounds simple, but it takes some practice. Try changing your thinking. It is important to keep in mind that this is a disease, and the person you are caring for may not have control of what they are doing or saying. Sometimes the best solution is to simply change your expectations. And it's important to remember that each person with Alzheimer's or another dementia progresses differently. What works for one person may not work for a different person. It's important to try different things, new things, and if it works, then great. And if it doesn't, try something else. And it's good to keep in mind that as the disease gets worse, something that works today may not work 6 months from now. Caring for someone with Alzheimer's or another dementia is hard. One of the first things to consider doing is providing the person you're caring for with a room or a space in a room that is just theirs. Make this a place they can organize however they like, a place where they can keep their belongings and use it to de-stress from their day. Next up, we're going to quickly cover a simple process you can use to understand how you change the environment called IDEA. The ID stands for identify the behaviors or the problem. You do this by asking, what is the behavior? Where does the behavior usually happen? How often does the behavior occur? And how long does the behavior typically last? Also, take a look at what was happening just before the behavior started. Many challenging behaviors have triggers, and it's important to gather as much information as possible to understand what may be causing it. Take a look at the time of day you see this happening. We encourage you to keep a log and track if the behavior occurs during a specific time of day. This may be helpful in figuring out why the behavior is happening. The log is a great tool to take with you for your doctor's appointments. Then we have E in IDEA, which is for explore. This is the second step, where you act like a detective to figure out why the person you are caring for is doing what they are doing. Let's talk about the possible triggers that often cause challenging behaviors. There are 4 potential triggers. First, we have health triggers. Things to consider are, is the person taking a new medicine? Is the person getting sick? Is the person in pain? Then we have environmental triggers. Think about what may happen in the environment to cause a certain behavior, like, is it too noisy? Is it too hot? Is the place unfamiliar? Is it too dark in the room? We also have task triggers. Those are things that the person does or is asked to do. Think about, is the activity too hard? Are there too many steps? Is it something new or confusing? And lastly, we have communication triggers. Is the person able to keep up with or follow the conversation? Is it hard for the person to speak? Could it be that he or she needs to go to the bathroom? Is the person bored? Asking questions and acting like a sleuth are great ways to get the cause and identify the triggers of behaviors. Some other questions to ask are, what is the meaning of the behavior? Does the person feel like he or she is being treated like a child? Is the person uncomfortable? Is the person afraid? Make sure you keep in mind that Alzheimer's is a progressive disease that gets worse over time. If you notice a sudden change in mood or behavior, even if it's in the span of a few days, it could be a sign of pain or illness, and you should take the person to the doctor or hospital immediately. Some signs that need to be reviewed by a doctor immediately include major change in memory or mood, more confusion, increase in anger, hitting and yelling, sudden incontinence, fever, or seizure. Be sure to speak with the doctor about your baseline or normal for now behaviors, how they usually behave, so the doctor can make an appropriate diagnosis of the situation. The next letter in IDEA is A, and A is for adjust. Once you have thought through all of the different possibilities that could be causing a behavior, it is time to do something about it. To adjust can mean different things. There is no right answer. Here are some things to consider when you want to adjust. Change the environment. Rearrange the physical space of a room by turning the lighting up or down to eliminate shadows or glare. Turn off distractions like the sound on the TV or radio. Remove clutter and make sure the person has a comfortable space to sit. Another strategy to try is distracting or redirecting the person's attention. Here are a few examples. Offer the person something to eat. Ask if they'd like to listen to music or watch a familiar show on TV. Ask the person for help with a simple activity. Lead the person to a different room. Addressing the cause or a challenging behavior is the key to changing it. So, keep tasks and activities simple. Find meaningful activities that they enjoy. Playing cards, doing a puzzle together, gardening, or looking at old photos and reminiscing. And attempt to keep the home as calm and quiet as possible. Speak slowly and calmly. Don't say too much or give more than one instruction at one time. And this can be hard, but don't argue. And make an effort to comfort the person. You have the ability to change, but the person with the disease can't. So changing your attitude and approach are important for both of you. Some things you can do: hold their hand while you take a walk with them. Hand them a stuffed animal that they can carry while they walk. Ask them to share a story from their childhood. Now that we understand a little more about the disease and learned how to use IDEA to address how your environment might affect behavior, we'll shift to addressing 4 of the most common safety concerns. They include getting lost, accidents, falls, and medication. One of the biggest safety concerns is wandering or getting lost. More than 60% of people with Alzheimer's or another dementia will wander away and get lost at some point. As many as half of the people not found within 24 hours will suffer a serious injury or could even die. You might wonder why people with dementia wander. A person with dementia may become confused about where they are or feel afraid if they don't recognize their surroundings. Their home may not feel the same to them, or they may try to get to a place they used to go to often, like their former home, work, or church. They may be bored and wander because they don't have anything to keep them occupied. Even a reaction to medicine could cause confusion in a person with dementia and could lead them to wander. When can wandering happen? Anyone who has memory problems and is able to walk is at risk of getting lost. Even in the early stages of dementia, a person can become disoriented or confused. It's important to plan ahead for this type of situation. For some people, this behavior may occur more often in the late afternoon or evening. Scientists don't completely understand why this happens, but as many as 20% of people with Alzheimer's will experience increased confusion, anxiety, agitation, and anger in the late afternoon, which increases the risk of walking away and getting lost. These emotions may also be factors of a phenomenon called sundowning, which is defined by increased confusion that people living with Alzheimer's and dementia may experience from dusk through night. Another factor at play with sundowning may be exhaustion at the end of the day. The internal body clock of a person with dementia sometimes doesn't work properly. The reduced light towards the end of the day increases shadows, which can cause the person with dementia to think they see things. That, in turn, causes them to become scared or confused. The person caring for them may be under a lot of stress and feel frustrated. The person with dementia may pick up on this, which could trigger a reaction of anger or frustration too. Sometimes a person with dementia may not be able to tell the difference between their dreams and thoughts and reality, which can be very disorienting and confusing. Confusion about the time of day, plus the fact that many older adults need less sleep, can lead to confusion in the middle of the night or early morning hours. A person with dementia may wake up and think it's time to start their day by heading out for a walk. Here's a tip for things you can do to keep the person you are caring for safe. There is a program called Safe Return. Here's how it works. After you register, if a member is reported missing, the information and photo are sent to local police, who can conduct a search. Support is provided by Medic Alert plus Safe Return and by Alzheimer's Los Angeles. When a member is found by a member of the emergency team, they call the toll-free number listed on the bracelet. Medic Alert notifies the family members or emergency contacts listed, making sure the person is returned home safely. For details about enrolling a person you're caring for, contact the Alzheimer's Los Angeles helpline and we'll help get things set up for you. Here are some more helpful suggestions for dealing with wandering or someone getting lost. Keep important documents on hand. Consider enrolling in another program called LA Found through LA County, which uses identification and tracking. LA Found provides bracelets that are tracked with radio frequency by the Sheriff's Department. Your front door or any doors that lead outside your home can be major triggers. Put a curtain over the door so the person doesn't recognize it. Put a towel with a rubber band over the knob to make it harder for the person to open. Paint the door and the knob the same color as the wall so they're harder to see. Put an additional lock high up or low on the door to prevent them from easily opening it. Make sure you have extra keys for yourself in case of an emergency or in case someone gets locked out. If you plan on changing the doors, remember that first responders may need to get inside quickly in case of emergency. It's also critical that anyone inside the house can get outside in an emergency, including the person with Alzheimer's. Keep this in mind when making any changes to the exits of your home or their home. Some things to bear in mind that may cause confusion or discomfort and trigger the person to try to exit the home and wander. Sometimes, if the TV is too loud or they think that the characters are actually in the room with them, they may feel scared and want to escape. Windows can be triggers as well. The person may be distracted by what's happening outside and may want to leave as a result. A coat rack with the person's purse or jacket can be a trigger, making them think it's time to go out. Bear in mind, these are all tips to increase safety for the person you are caring for. There are, of course, things that should not be done, like locking a person inside a room. The goal is to provide a safe and comfortable environment and to eliminate or reduce any triggers that may cause wandering. Next, we're going to talk about accidents. You may be wondering, what are some risk factors for accidents? People with Alzheimer's may have trouble now knowing what is dangerous. These are things that may not have been a danger before the onset of the disease. It's also important to acknowledge when certain tasks and activities can be dangerous. If the person is still able to safely use kitchen appliances like a microwave, blender, or stove, either by themselves or with the supervision of another person, then we recommend that you allow them to continue using those appliances. This helps the person maintain some independence and participate in household activities. But keep in mind, as the disease progresses, they will not be able to safely use these appliances. Even a microwave can become a danger when not used properly, like if something metal is put inside. Some examples of unsafe behaviors are cooking on a stove with a plastic container, or leaving on the gas or burners, or letting a hot iron sit on a piece of clothing. At some point, safety products may not be enough to keep the person with Alzheimer's safe, and you will have to restrict access to these appliances. Let's talk about hobbies. Hobbies and other things the person used to enjoy doing can be very helpful in keeping the person engaged, like cooking or baking. Depending on how far along the disease is or how dangerous the hobby is now, it may not be safe for the person to do it unsupervised, but maybe they can do parts of it. Encourage the things they can still do safely and engage in the activity with them to be sure they stay safe. This is a very important topic. Let's talk about safety and weapons. Sometimes the person with Alzheimer's may feel confused and frightened, even in their own home and with people they know. This can create a dangerous situation for everyone in the house. If there are guns or weapons in the house, make sure they are locked up in a safe place and that there are no bullets in the gun. Weapons require extra caution and extra vigilance. Even if the person with Alzheimer's was able to safely handle a gun in the past, do not assume they can now. His or her current abilities will be altered because safe use of firearms requires complex cognitive abilities and quick decision-making skills. Also, people living with dementia sometimes misperceive danger and may not recognize someone he or she has known for years and view him or her as an intruder. Serious accidents can happen if strict safety rules aren't in place and followed every day. If you feel that your life or somebody else's life is in danger, including the person with Alzheimer's, take immediate steps to get yourself and others to safety. If possible, leave the house and go to a safe place. Call 911 for help. Now, we're going to review some important safety points. The stove. The stove and other appliances like the microwave, toaster oven, and toaster are potential fire hazards. Here are a few things you should do right away to make your home safe for the person with dementia and everyone living there. Install safety knobs on the stove. Unplug and remove the appliances if they are no longer safe to have on the counter. Cover electrical outlets with child-proof plugs. Decorations can be tricky. Remove fake, decorative fruit and vegetables or anything that can be mistaken as food. Did you know your sink can be an unexpected hazard? If you have a garbage disposal, consider disconnecting it or covering the switch that turns it on. Also, lower the temperature on your water heater to low or 120 degrees to prevent scalding. Knives can be a real danger. Put away any knives, scissors, or other dangerous objects, things that are sharp or pointy. Let's talk about falls. You may ask, why are people with dementia at risk for falls? Physical weakness and poor balance happen to many people as they age, and as Alzheimer's progresses, the disease can affect muscle strength and balance, which increases the chance of a person falling. Several forms of dementia, including Alzheimer's, cause problems with balance, vision, and perception, and make people twice as likely to fall. The brain controls our ability to process and understand the purpose of physical objects and cues. For example, what looks like a rug to us can look like a hole in the ground to someone with Alzheimer's. Some medications can also cause side effects that cause this kind of confusion too. When do falls happen? Often falls happen when the person with dementia is tired, when they are getting in and out of the shower. A dark or dimly lit room can make it harder for them to see and interpret the objects around them. When they are distracted and not watching where they're going. If they are wearing uncomfortable shoes, shoes that don't fit well, or no shoes at all. Here are some ideas and tips for safety equipment for your home. Any person with a diagnosis of Alzheimer's or another dementia has rights through the American Disabilities Act and can ask for a bathroom rail to be installed. Contact Alzheimer's Los Angeles to get more information about this program. There is also equipment you can purchase for your home like grab bars, raised toilet seats with handrails, or a shower chair. This equipment will not only make your home safer for the person you are caring for, but it could help you as you help them with many of these daily activities. Let's talk about a few other safety points to prevent falls. Clean up the clutter. You want to have a balance between keeping the important things you need close by and clearing out the clutter that is not needed. Clear any clutter in hallways and living areas. Clean up any potential hazards that could cause confusion or a fall. Make floor surfaces safe. Use a non-slip mat in the tub or shower and as a bath mat. Remove area rugs or anything else not permanently installed on the floor. Lighting is important. Make sure there is appropriate lighting if they get up in the middle of the night to go to the bathroom. Use a nightlight. Watch out for and clear up electrical cords. Make sure that all electrical cords are tacked along the wall and can't come loose to avoid accidents. Now we're going to talk about safety and medications. You may be wondering what I mean by medications being a possible danger or safety risk. The person you are caring for may get sick or even be poisoned if they take the wrong medicine or take too much of a medicine. This can be a very serious health risk and should be taken very seriously. So why do people with Alzheimer's mismanage their medicine? Often, they may simply forget to take their medication or confuse the pills and take too many of one, but not take another at all. This can happen at any stage of the disease, but everyone with Alzheimer's or another dementia needs help managing their medications. One of the most important things you can do is talk to their doctor. Make a complete list of all the medicines, herbs, vitamins, and supplements that the person with Alzheimer's takes. Take the time to talk to the person with dementia's doctor to make sure all the medications they are currently taking are safe. Be sure to list what time of the day they are taken and make sure to ask if any of them might interact with each other. If you are having a hard time getting the person with Alzheimer's to take their medicine, ask the doctor if there are any other options, like a liquid form or a patch that they recommend. Crushing a pill in applesauce or a favorite food can help too. Again, your doctor may have some suggestions. Here are some medication safety tips. Use reminders. If the person still understands language, can communicate, and is able to read and process information that way, you can use reminders. Write them into a calendar or put notes around the house to remind the person when it's time to take their medication. Lock away medicine. Make sure anything that looks like medicine is locked away. Even pet medicine can be confused for human medicine. So, to reduce confusion and accidents, lock up all medicines and pills. Use pill boxes. Pill boxes with days of the week, time of day, or color coding are helpful. You can use pill boxes to help make sure the person is taking all of their medications consistently and properly. In this session, we have covered a lot of important and helpful information. We know that caring for a person with Alzheimer's or dementia can be overwhelming and challenging at times. You don't have to make all of the changes we covered, and you don't have to do them all at once. Alzheimer's is a progressive disease, so being aware of behaviors and changes that may happen, you can meet these challenges. Don't forget to reach out to the person's doctor and to Alzheimer's Los Angeles for support. We are here to help you with home safety and anything else that comes up. For more information on anything in this lesson, please call our helpline at 844-435-7259. That's 844-HELP-ALS. Or visit our website to find more resources. You can also connect with us on social media. We really hope you found this session helpful and you continue to learn more about the challenges you may face and how you can better manage some of those challenges. Coming up in the next few sessions, we continue with more tips and information about memory loss and Alzheimer's, communication, and behaviors.